Welcome to the details. Now, very soon we'll be returning to Parliament where the vetting is ongoing. Mr. Joseph Kofi Adda, Minister Designate for Water Resources and Sanitation, of course, is telling the committee and the whole nation about what he intends to do and how he intends to manage Ghana's water resources if given the nod. In the meantime, the Supreme Court has struck out former Attorney General Martin Amidu as a defendant to the suit filed by private legal practitioner David Amidu, seeking an interpretation on whether a sole judge of the court can interpret the 1992 Constitution. He had also wanted the court to set aside the ruling by Justice Eni Yeboah, who as a sole judge held that former AG Martin Amidu orally examines businessman Alfred Agbesi Woyome. Now, the court in its ruling held that David Amidu, despite appropriately invoking the jurisdiction of the court, should not have added the former Attorney General as a defendant. Our own Joseph Akable was in court today. He joins me in the studio. We'll find out from him how we ended up here, just so we put the issues in the proper perspective. Go for it.
Yeah, so it had to do with the fact that the court had earlier, when Justice Eni Yeboah heard the matter, granted Mr. Amidu, the former Attorney General, the opportunity to orally examine Mr. Woyome. And right after that, David Amidu, a private legal practitioner, headed to court. Now, his argument in court was the fact that even though the Constitution allows a sole judge to hear the matter, it doesn't clock him with that power to interpret and enforce the Constitution the way and manner by which he did by allowing Mr. Amidu to orally examine Alfred Woyome.
If we're to break this down, so the people who don't understand big English will understand, how would you put it, basically?
Yeah, so the point he is making is the fact that, Article 134 of the Constitution, it explains that a sole judge of the Supreme Court can't hear a case. But his argument was that for such a decision, going to the extent that powers that the Constitution has given to the Attorney General to prosecute, to hand such powers over to a private individual who is not the Attorney General, he thinks a decision should be taken by a panel and not a single judge of the court. So he went for that interpretation. Then again, asking that the court halts that earlier decision or sets it aside such that the planned examination of businessman Alfred Agbesi Woyome by the former Attorney General Martin Amidu doesn't take place at all. So those were the main issues that he put before the court that he wanted a ruling to.
So what was the reaction of Mr. Amidu? Was he in court today?
Mr. Amidu was in court, and in fact the decision the judges arrived at was the fact that they set out to look at two main issues. The first one was the process he had used to invoke the jurisdiction of the court, and their point was that Article 21 is very clear. It spells out the rights of every citizen and a citizen of the country. If he needs interpretation from the court, he can so do. The other point that the court set out to look out for was the defendants he listed in that interpretation suit. Right. Now, he listed one as the Attorney General, and the second one was Martin Amidu. Now, his reason for listing Martin Amidu was that there was a case Martin Amidu had brought to court that he was seeking clarification on. Okay. But on that score, the court disagreed with him. And the court said that the Constitution is very clear that in any civil proceedings, it is the Attorney General is supposed to be a defendant. But Martin Amidu has no basis and will not be affected by any interpretation. Okay. So why do you list him as a defendant in the matter? Okay. So on that leg, the court disagreed. So when the court made that pronouncement, and Martin Amidu rose up and pointed out that if that is the case, then why has he been sued needlessly? So he wants some compensation to be given
Awarded him. Did that happen for him? Did the judge award him any damages on that?
Presiding Judge Sufaya Kufu announced that a sum of 5,000 cedis should be paid Mr. Amidu by David Amidu. So even though David Amidu had a decision in his favor, he still has some 5,000 cedis to pay Mr. Amidu.
Okay, Mr. Woyome was in court today.
He didn't enter the courtroom itself, but indeed his lawyer Ken Anku was inside the courtroom. Mr. Woyome himself, I saw him when I was entering the courtroom. He was right outside the courtroom, but he didn't come in for very strange reasons. More often than not, when such matters come before the court involving him, he often enters the courtroom. But this time around, he stood outside. His lawyers were in the courtroom.
Did he speak to the media? Because we know, in the run-up to the election, we heard a lot about him, or we heard a lot from him on a lot of media platforms talking about the issue. Did he do that this time?
He has not spoken for some time now. Right after that decision was given by the court, when he went on a media spree, he halted it at a point when he filed appealing that decision, and subsequently that of David Amidu was filed. Since then, he has not spoken to us, and today he did say he didn't.
What next now?
So now, as it stands, there are different legs of the issue. So the substantive issue that David Amidu is seeking for an interpretation is still before the court. Okay. Again, on February 8th, the planned oral examination is to take place, but that cannot come off until the court deals with this one. So it means that definitely on February 8th, that one will face an adjournment pending the court finishing with this particular one.
What it means is that the oral examination that Mr. Amidu is seeking is going to be pushed to another date, perhaps.
Exactly.
Because there is an outstanding issue that has to be dealt with before that oral examination.
Exactly, and depending on the pronouncement of the court, it has the potential to influence that one.
That day.
Because assuming the court decides that a sole judge cannot take that decision, it will mean that it strikes out that earlier decision, the examination cannot take place. So that is why the court is holding on with that one.
Okay, we'll say a very big thank you. So when next are you going to court?
It will be next week.
Next week. Okay, thank you very much, Joseph Akablay. Joseph Akablay has been on the tail of Mr. Martin Amidu and, of course, Mr. Woyome on that particular case. They were looking forward to the day when Mr. Woyome is orally examined, as Mr. Amidu is seeking. But away from court issues, let's return to the vetting, because Communications Minister designate Ursula Wusu-Ekufu took her turn this morning before the appointment committee to be vetted. Now, if passed, the Blekuma West MP will lead the ministry she has already promised to transform. Ursula Wusu-Ekufu says her ministry will complete the fiber loop around the country by 2018. He also says that the world is moving away from voice communication, hence there's a need to improve the speed at which we access and use data and the cost that comes with it. She also says Ghana will be totally cut off if the country doesn't complete the digital migration by 2020. Here are excerpts from her vetting.
We all understand the importance of having a proper identification system for our country. We've talked about it and done some work towards it since 2006 when the National Identification Authority was set up. Spent a fair bit of money, but we find ourselves in a situation where, because we don't have a proper national identification solution, all the various agencies which need data are investing in standalone systems which don't talk to each other. So we find ourselves duplicating efforts, wasting money and all that. The National Data Center is a very useful piece of infrastructure that we put in. It has the capacity to host all the data sets that in this country. And so, as we've indicated in our manifesto, we're committed to putting in place a functioning national ID system by the end of this year. Work has already started towards that. And we need not replicate the infrastructure that we've already put in. So all the national ID system needs to do is to use the National Data Center as their data warehouse instead of replicating that infrastructure in their offices. And that will also go some way towards reducing the cost of setting up this infrastructure. It will help. And I am looking forward to the day where by the click of a button, you can access, apply for a passport, indicate the time that you want it. If you want expedited service, you can indicate that on the application and on the monitor. Pay for it using mobile money or credit card or e-switch or whatever, and it will be provided for on that same platform. Indicate where you want to pick it up on that platform, and then walk there and go pick up your passport by verifying your details with your fingerprints and your face on the equipment provided there at a location which is convenient to you, and pick up your passport. It cuts out the middleman, it cuts out fraud and corruption, because government will receive the cost of those services up front, and you can vote. So if we're able to deploy this national ID solution by the end of this year, as we hope to, and all the actors are also, there is a political will to do it. We all understand the urgency of it. It is not just convenient, cost-effective, and will cut out corruption. It's also a security matter. We can't have so many multiplicity of databases with our information stored on them all over the place. So at that meeting in the Vice President's office last week, all the actors agreed that yes, we need to have one national database. As we speak today, I think there's a meeting ongoing currently where the technical committees who are actually going to see how these various databases are going to be linked, the when and the how, the fine details of how the system is going to be implemented are actually meeting now to set up the committees to make it work. And so I'm hopeful that by the end of this year, we won't just be talking about the national ID card, but we will have a smart card solution which stores all the data that all the various agencies need on it. And they will have, it's all encrypted, it will be encrypted, so we can only access the information that you want. It will provide certainty for the banks as well, for security, like I said, for immigration purposes, and make life a whole lot easier for us. It would also help us all to move closer towards the government-led technology that we are all advocating. And I think we have the building blocks in place. We have the National Data Center, like you indicated. We have the various databases in place. The information there can be upgraded. And even the national ID itself, that means indicated that they have 15 million. The information of 15 million stored on their servers already. So when the system is set up and is ready to go, we pick it up. The formula is updatable fields. Should you update your information? And it is possible to even get your card instantly. So let's all see how we can work together to ensure that we get where we want to get to make life easier for all of us. I'm not sure if it is more expensive than it is. Accessing data is more expensive here than it is in the South region. But we need to do whatever we can to reduce the cost of accessing the service. And so we will work with the private the sector operators, the data, broadband, wireless operators, and the mobile network operators themselves to see what we can do, where we can derive the synergies which will help drive the cost down. As government is investing in infrastructure, it is taking away from them the capital investment that they would have had to put in place. So that would also help. Once we put in some of the broadband fiber infrastructure that they need to drive on. And so they can also need some of that capacity from government, which will drive down their cost of delivering service, and hopefully the gains will be passed on to the consumer.
That is Minister Designate for Communications, Esther Owusu Ekufo, there earlier this morning when she met the committee to vet her, of course, on what her plans are in transforming the communications sector of this country. Just a while ago, Mr. Joseph Kofi Adda's vetting was completed. He is Minister Designate for Water Resources and Sanitation. And as I said earlier, he's been talking about how he intends to manage Ghana's water resources. Well, you do know, if you follow the vetting so far, that there have been serious issues. Well, there have been concerns, especially about the composition of the five-member ad hoc committee that was constituted by Parliament to investigate the vetting, the alleged bribery scandal that rocked the House. Well, many Ghanaians were calling for an independent body to conduct the investigation. Sources within that ad hoc committee, by the way, have been speaking to Joy News about their wish for the sitting of the committee to be telecast live on national television to enhance transparency. But speaking to my colleague Mamavio Uswabwaje earlier on the AM show, member of pressure group Occupy Ghana, Ace Ankuma, suggested that the police also begin a criminal investigation into the matter.
It's in place, but it works within a certain remit and boundary. It is a committee of Parliament to investigate the allegations within the context of Parliament and what Parliament does, and to see whether there's any veracity to the allegations. And if there is, they might take their own internal steps. If there isn't, they might take their own internal steps. That's a completely different kettle of fish from a police investigation into crime. So the same incident might sound in parliamentary inquiries, might sound in civil law, but that does not stop the police from doing what it has to do. but there's been a public allegation of crime, attempted bribery, attempted corruption of public officers in the course of their public duties. The police have a duty to Ghanaians to investigate this, even if to show that the allegation is untrue.
So even with this committee working, you still think the police can go ahead and investigate also?
Not just can, they should. Absolutely. They are parallel processes. The law is very different. The criminal law on bribery and corruption is very different from a parliamentary inquiry as to whether its rules have been breached and what to do. And I think that the parliamentary inquiry might even go beyond this and address the issues as to the hints and winks and suggestions that, look, this is the normal fare of Parliament, and that people who are appearing before Parliament, either to push some statute or bill, are required almost officially to pay monies to committees, etc., etc. That has been existent for too long. So Parliament has an opportunity to investigate this and probably clean its stables to the extent that the stables may be dirty. But that's different. The police are investigating whether a crime has taken place. If a crime has taken place, the police, in conjunction with the Attorney General's Department, will be expected to prosecute. Two different things.
How does it work? Shouldn't somebody go to the police to make a report?
No. If somebody is killed, who makes a report to the police? The police will not need a complainant in this instance. The statement has been made. It is out there. The voice clip exists. We expect a proactive police service, not to sit and say we are waiting for somebody to take a car and drive to our office and make an official complaint. Nobody's going to do that. The police, I believe, should and will step up to the plate and investigate this. The thing that deals with corruption most is transparency. Corruption does not like light. And so as these things get opened up right there in the press, we begin to see maybe the dark underbelly of corruption, and maybe this might be our opportunity to deal with some aspects of corruption. Maybe if those stories about envelopes to MPs are true, this is an opportunity to address it, or at least make them even more careful or more circumspect if they decide to do that. Or maybe to expose that those allegations are untrue. I believe that every agency that has the power to do the investigation should be doing that now.
Asan Koma is a founding member of the Occupy Ghana, which is a pressure group, speaking to Mama Vio Uswabade earlier this morning about this whole bribery scandal. You know that here on Pulse, we love to hear what people on the street are saying about situations. Well, he's calling for police investigations, but what are Ghanaians saying about Parliament investigating itself? Earlier, like yesterday, we said the Speaker of Parliament had indicated that Parliament is empowered and does have the power to do so. But what do Ghanaians think about this committee within Parliament investigating Parliament? Here are their views.
The parliamentary committee, they should do their best. We know the expected results we are expecting, so if we don't get it, I think there may be another body like STRAJ or the CID or BNI can take care of that.
Government have to channel the case to the judiciary, because if they send it to the legislature to deal with this case, there will be bias of it, and the problem will not be solved. So they have to push it to the judicial people. They are not biased, they are neutral, so that they can settle the case and peace will prevail.
I think Parliament setting up a committee in-house to investigate the bribery allegation is something that I personally, to a large extent, I agree with them. I think they have that credibility to conduct an investigation in-house.
The chairman for the appointment committee, who is alleged to have given the money to Mutaka to be given to Ayariga, he did plead with the Speaker of Parliament to give him leave so he could take the matter to court. So if their report comes out and it's not credible to we Ghanaians, then I think the court should be the final arbiter here. So we know the actual issue, what happened, if the bribe was actually given, and if it was taken, then we pick it up from there.
Well, there you have it. Voices from the streets, of course. That's what they think about this particular situation. But Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has stated that governments will consider a request by the Speaker of Parliament for the construction of a new chamber. He said this when he visited the House of the Legislation this morning. Yesterday, strong winds accompanied with rains forced abrupt adjournment of the business of the House, which was in session at the time. This was after the roof was ripped off. We'll hear more of that. But first, let's see the extent of damage caused that was caused by the winds last night. Beatrice Edu was there for Joy News.
This is Ghana's parliament, and this place was not spared either during the rains on Tuesday night. That's last night. You can see right behind me a number of roofing sheets that have been put on the floor. A number of carpenters are trying to straighten up these roofing sheets behind me. They are working on them. And of course, we also know of how this rain caused havoc inside the floor of Parliament. At the other side of this compound, you can also see some women sweeping the debris off the street. Just some few minutes ago, the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, just came out to inspect what is going on outside here. You can see him right behind me going, and he actually stood here for some time. Also marveled at the extent of damage caused to the property of the Parliament House here, and he's just going, being escorted by some police officers to go around the entire place and see exactly what might have happened. And this is actually happening before 10 a.m. today.
Perhaps gives you an idea of the kind of damage we're talking about. And last night, if you saw, you followed Joy News Prime, we showed you a video of water dripping from the roof of Parliament, and it was that terrible. Now, a lot of people have complained about the maintenance culture here in the country. And so Kate Adu, who is the Public Affairs Director at Parliament, has been speaking about the matter. She says that the last time there was any renovation on Parliament House was about 6 years ago. Let's hear her.
The last time the roof was touched was in February 6 years ago. And from that time, the chamber has not been refurbished. The roof has not been, majorly refurbished. But we've always had, a look or two at it, but not in the sense of proper refurbishment, as was done in the chamber. So no, the last time the roof was replaced was in February, about 4 or 5 years ago. Work has been going on various on the various buildings. The Job 600 is a fairly new renovated building. The administration block is a new building. The speaker's block does not have those problems. The chamber block is where the problem occurred. I have been told by the contractors that they put a tarpaulin on it. The tarpaulin is to prevent the water from leaking should the rains come again. That's the immediate solution. So we can actually go back to work in the chamber this morning. We can go back to the chamber this morning because a tarpaulin has been put on the roof that will prevent water from leaking should the rains come. However, the long-term plan is to take a good assessment of the damage that the rains caused yesterday and to apply the appropriate remedies. ADK has spoken to us this morning. The Vice President has also been briefed by ADK, the Speaker, and the leadership of Parliament. And we are going to start working this morning at any time from now, and hopefully, the permanent works will be done as soon as possible.
Do you know how long that is going to take?
Well, ADK will inform us. Our consultants will inform us as soon as possible, but the immediate remedies that have been put in place will prevent any water from leaking should there be a rain, incident today or tomorrow or even the day after tomorrow.
Are the air conditioners going to work?
Everything is going to work, we've been assured. In fact, the air conditioners are working, the microphones are working. This morning I was being asked whether the microphones were damaged, whether there was damage. Water had seeped into the carpet. That has been mopped, the carpet has been cleaned. The microphones have also been cleaned and they are all in good conditions and they're actually working.
So Kate Adu there, she is the head of public affairs at Parliament House, speaking about what they've done. As we speak, though, the roof, we understand, has been fixed and sitting actually resumed this morning. Very soon we'll be touching base with our parliamentary correspondent who has also been covering the vetting to give us a bit more information about that. But that is what happened in Parliament. But if you've driven along the streets today, you realize that last night's rainfall had actually caused a lot of havoc in town. Beatrice Edu again looked around town, quite away from Parliament, to gauge the extent of damage that has been caused by the rains last night.
It's a day after heavy rains in Accra, and already the destruction is massive. Right behind me, you can see the road filled with water, cars struggling to pass through the mud, as well as the water on the roads, dirty environment over here. Just right on my left side, you can see this giant billboard that has been ripped off almost completely by the probably heavy winds from the rain. Just behind this Hyundai World office, you can also see there is a roofing that has also been almost ripped off. And then you can see the debris from the billboard that has been ripped off on the floor, on the compound of this Hyundai World. So that's on my left side, facing the roundabout, the Kaneshi roundabout, just around the Hyundai office. On my right side, which is on the same road where the Royal House Chapel is, just few meters after the Royal House Chapel, you can see also the destruction caused by the rains. The billboards here, some of them have been ripped off, others completely. You can't even see which adverts were on before the rains. You can see that that of Nido has been torn apart. Also a bit of another one, a sorghum wheat company, that has also been ripped off as well. And then there's one giant billboard that has fallen. It was actually uprooted by the rains and the winds accompanying the rains. We'll cross over to speak to the people over there to find out how. There is a woman actually selling in front of just along the road, and actually behind where this billboard has fallen. And obviously this is something that could affect her sales today. We'll just go there. Thank you. Hello, good morning. It seems that they had already complained about how safe this particular giant billboard was. Okay, hello, sir. Hello.
When they go to Timor Market, they go buy fake materials. Then they come and do the billboard to kill human being.
Excuse me, do you know anything about this particular billboard?
No. When they are making the billboard, they should go buy the correct iron.
How do you know that?
No, see. They go to Timor Market and go and buy fake the rusting one. Then they come and take billboard. Then they take big money for the companies. That's what they are. They buy, see the iron, see the thickness of the iron. See the thickness of the iron. See this one, how many inches be this? They go buy the fake materials for Timor Market.
You see, only one, I'm attacking the whole billboard.
See.
All this whole one. All this whole.
They go buy they go to Timor Market, even cylinder, they go to Timor Market. They want the rusting one, then they paint them, they go spray them, then they paint it, then they sell. That's why always gas is killing us in Ghana. They go buy
What's
the
your name, sir?
My name is Ebenezer.
Ebenezer what?
Bwedu.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I've heard some complaints.
Cylinders, they go to Timor Market. When you go to Timor Market, you see the cylinders. The fake one, those the house one, the one where it's spoiled, it's fire. They they go and buy it. Then they go and spray it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ebenezer.
My name is Tijani.
Yes, Mr. Jana. Tijani. Okay, Mr. Tijani. All right, so I've heard some reports that actually there had been some complaints about the fact that it was weakening, the foundation of this was weakening. What do you know about this?
Even though the thing itself is too tall, and like they used to, every year they're supposed to come and check to see whether the thing is stronger or not. Because yesterday I was here. Luckily, one car, that's Kaneshi Odoko, I think he normally even got accident with it.
Oh, so he nearly crashed that car, that's what you're saying?
Even the moment the thing fell down before the, how do you call it, the wheel broke, got accident. But I think yesterday they took the car to Kaneshi.
Okay.
Yesterday night. So what we want them to come and remove all these things, otherwise it will create big problem for us here.
No, actually these things are for individuals.
It's for individuals. but they are not normally check it every day. So it used to cause accident for us here.
Do you live
this
around
is not the
here?
first time. No, yeah, this is my shop here around here.
Okay.
So this is not the first time. He used to do always, but yesterday very, very terrible. So we want either, I don't know, the government or whoever is in charge of this thing, they should come and remove it.
Okay, Mr. Tijani,
Yeah.
you seem to have problems with this. How is this going to affect you as somebody who lives around here?
Well, actually, yesterday it seems, luckily, it's around 8:30 to 9. Like it will be daytime or evening. It will create big problem for us here.
So apart from the billboards on the roads that we've seen destructions of, how has the rain affected you personally
So actually,
and your
just
family?
now I came, so I didn't enter the house to see whether it even affected the house. Because we have a house at the back of this building, so I'm going there to check.
But is it the kind of house that usually gets flooded or get destruction of properties when it rains?
Oh, actually, if rainfall, it will create problem for us. The rain that normally create problem. Apart from that, we don't have any problem. Apart from this thing and the rain.
Thank you.
All the gutters are choked, and the road that they did, just recently, they block all the holes. See,
How do you know?
Oh, they just block. We have how do you call it? Hose under the bridge. So all the road, all the hose has been choked, has been blocked.
All right.
Totally. So the water cannot even get access to go under.
Thank you very much, sir. Do you live around here? Okay, which of you lives around here?
We don't live around here, but it is our concern, not those who are living here.
Okay.
It's a concern to the nation.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Seth Yamanasa. And the problem is, when you look around, look at the river, just look at the water. It's an eyesore. And there's somebody in charge. Somebody is being paid for. And if the work is not being done, it is not the citizen who should go and do it. We have paid somebody to do that. Look at the billboard, look at the top, the height. The moment the air blows and there's no weight under it, it will fall. And casualty will happen. What do we do as a nation? These things are for individuals. And they registered with AME. So AME take portion of the money. What are they doing about it? We only talk. Ghana, we know how to talk and insult. But the real job, we don't know how to do it.
Which area are you coming from?
Now I'm coming from this direction, towards Karachi Police Station.
Okay, but how did the rain, you
Go
know?
there and see things for yourselves.
Exactly which area?
Precisely the market corridor. You see very fit. Look at it. Robbers all choked. And we call this as a Christian country. We cry to God day in, day out. But we look at ourselves, we just need and go to
arresting motors. Why?
To me, all these things should stop. All should come on board to the state gutters. Everything, all these people should be removed and to reduce to certain height.
Forget about that.
Somebody is being paid for. Somebody is being paid for.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Okay, so you can see that indeed this particular billboard is not just the foundation here where some people are complaining of the kind of metal that was used as the foundation, but when you come to one end of this billboard, you see that it actually broke not from the foundation, but from just on top of the foundation. And in there, you can see that it actually had rusted. And the only thing that covered the rust is the blue paint around it. And without the blue paint, you would have clearly seen the rust. So it actually broke on top of the foundation here. And you can see that as a result of the billboard that has fallen in the road, and then the muddy water in the road as well, it's made it a bit difficult for the drivers. This billboard has actually taken portions of the road, and it's made it a bit difficult for drivers using this particular road. We'll go to some other parts of Accra to see what sort of damage the rains last night caused in the capital city.
So that is the extent of damage, at least from what our cameras could capture. Very soon we're making an attempt to speak with the Advertising Association of Ghana about the standards that that are required in setting up these billboards. But the Ghana Meteorological Agency, I beg your pardon, has been speaking. Well, they say that they did not or could not anticipate the magnitude of Tuesday's night downpour. They spoke to my colleague earlier on News Desk, and the person who spoke was Mr. James Dusu. He attributed the damage to the continuous inability of the agency to communicate. He's attributing the inability to communicate accurate weather forecasts to the public, the public's inability to. I beg your pardon. Well, we've been speaking to him, and he spoke to us earlier on News Desk. Here's what he said.
We were expecting some rains along the coast, but we didn't anticipate a storm. But as it developed over southern coastal Benin to Togo, we realized we were expecting a storm to graze the coastal areas, but not of that strength. More often, we have a lack of communication channels to the larger masses. That is one problem we see facing. But if we have a reliable channel, that is when we send these forecasts through the emails to the broadcast houses and the other end users, we realize we get to them on time. But how early do these forecasts get out of the email boxes to the waves that the citizens can hear and understand the impact thereof? So these are some of the challenges that we face, and most of the time we rather want to be particular about whether the forecast is right or not right. But we should move away from this perception. We should look at what the weather is going to cause and its impact in the country or in society, rather than looking at whether the forecast is going to come or not, so that we can be able to reduce the impact of the hazards of the weather.
That is the Ghana Meteorological Agency on the rainstorm last night. Just a watching pause here with Megiti and Opia. We'll take a very quick break. We'll return shortly. Please stay with us.